Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow-Driven CEO podcast. Thrilled, so thrilled to be talking to yourself, Rachel Edwards from Minnesota, Thursday, 5:30 p.m., Friday morning here.
Yep.
Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you, B. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, what a conversation we're about to have because I love people, I love personalities, and you are the founder and CEO of Insperai Inc. Loving all your branding, by the way. And
Thank you.
Insperai Inc. is a personality intelligence and analytics company that evolved from your coaching business, which was Pebblebrook Wellness. And we can talk a little bit about that.
Right.
And you're the creator of the Strategic Personality Blueprint, which is the SPB. It's a patent pending system combining multiple assessments and real world strategy to help individuals, teams, and organizations thrive. Your background includes
Yes.
forensic behavior analysis, mindset coaching, and leadership support across high stress systems. Tell us
Yes.
all about this because I'm just so curious and yeah, I've been really excited to talk to you.
Yeah, well, I will start with a little bit about what the system is, first of all, and then we can kind of go from there with the journey of where it started. But it is a system, the we desire to be the forefront system for understanding, measuring, and applying personality intelligence. And our take on personality intelligence is that we are more than just a singular label. Life lives in the gaps between the labels, growth happens behind the labels. So we look at personality from five core domains. We look at behavior, traits, motivations, core values, and strengths in action, and how all of those pieces interact, how they influence each other, how they show up in someone, and then what you can do with that information. Because where insight is really good on paper and it's really good to learn about yourself, insight without action kind of lays flat. So we wanted to not only give deeper than ever insight, but then also the tools and strategies, techniques, whether it's for an individual or a team, um, to be able to thrive.
How cool. How cool. And so
Yeah.
how did you come up with this? Like were you using a whole heap of personality tests? Like what was like because you've been a mindset
So,
coach, right? But like yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep, yeah. I like to say short story long instead of long story short, but I will try to keep it as concise as possible. Where I have always been fascinated by behavior, why people do what they do. And that drove me to my original career, um, a decade working in criminal justice, working directly with inmates to help them reintegrate successfully, modify their behavior, really pull that apart. I took a break. Um, to try the stay-at-home mom thing, which didn't take very long for me to realize that I am not stay-at-home mom material. I love that for others, but I needed to do more. So I looked into what should I do? I didn't necessarily want to go right back into forensics. So and this is all happening during the pandemic. So we were all isolated and I was working with a therapist and my own mindset coach. And I became enamored with the mindset coaching model of, we think, feel, do all day long, and that produces our outcomes. And if we can really disrupt that cycle and regain control and responsibility of our own thoughts and actions, we can change our outcomes. And so I took that along with meditation and breath work and mindfulness. I'm certified in that as well, and I developed my coaching practice. So I would work with professionals, women specifically, to kind of navigate all of the different roles that they were,
Doing.
trying to navigate. I like to say. The plate spinning, when you have a plate spinner, I feel like that's as women, especially if you have a family, you're constantly trying to run around and stop the plates from falling and keep them spinning. So I would help women navigate all of their roles. And in that, I thought I was trying to look for a different tool that would not only allow me to understand my clients deeply, but then guide them. And looking at a variety of all the thousands of personality instruments out there. I was going to get certified, trying to decide which one. And then I thought, well, isn't there one that looks at somebody holistically?
Mm.
And then from that gives us the specific strategies for how they're wired. And when there wasn't one, that's what I created was the blueprint. And at the time it wasn't called the blueprint, but I was just using it in my own practice. And it was AI based. I spent a couple of months training my own AI bot to be this engine to do this meta-analysis, cross-analysis of how these instruments influence each other and show up, and then the strategies from that. We also connect it to real world experience where a lot of the assessments fall just at, a scale type question. We actually asked open-ended questions about the person's goals and their obstacles, and then directly correlate the responses of their and parts of their personality to that so that we can give ultra tailored solutions. Um, and so I was using it, and everybody was loving it and wanting to know how they could use it
Yeah.
and trying to use it in other settings. And I was doing this manually. And one of my colleagues said, well, the way you're describing your goal for it is really like a software platform. And I'm like, you're funny because I am not a tech person, but that's cute. Then I thought about it, pondered on it. It's where I met Jolly. Um, I went, Jolly, I have this vision, and I would love if you can help me create this vision into some sort of dynamic platform that can be used in multiple industries to improve understanding,
Yeah.
self-awareness, and allow them to grow and to thrive in any industry. So that is my short story long of where we got to today.
Oh wow, it's so cool. Like, and have you always engaged in personality tests? Like, have you ever done like the Myers-Briggs or the
Personally,
16,
yep,
yeah, 16 types,
yes,
etc.
yep,
And like, did
yes.
you always look at them and see gaps? Like, and you were like, how do I like, yeah, like, was it something that you,
I mean, I didn't. The gaps didn't necessarily stick out right away, but it was. I have always been fascinated by if there's a test, I'm going to take it. I love learning about myself, and I originally actually Myers-Briggs is one of the original assessments that I trained the system on. Um, I had 8 originally, and I ended up whittling it down, which is when we filed the patent. We took and created our own assessment using um, open domain sources of we use DISC, Enneagram, and Big Five traits, all within their own domain, but built within our assessment. And then we created our own core values and strengths assessment. But yes, I would say the gap sort of came when I was looking for an assessment to use, and I would say, "Oh, this one measures communication and leadership styles and behaviors really well." But how does somebody's values impact how they
yeah,
show up or their motivations? And so I thought there's just it's like looking at an apple, a pear, and a pepper, and let's say they're all green and you call them all green, but they're completely different pieces of food, right? You
100%.
can't they taste differently, they 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 feel differently, all of that. So people are the same way. We're dynamic, we evolve, um, we're not a snapshot in time. We have lived experiences which have shaped how we respond and perceive and move through the world.
Yeah, and there's also for me, there's like that life leadership business piece, right? Like as an individual, so much of yourself you bring to work, and so much of work comes home with you in
Yeah.
terms of so how do you
Yes.
factor that all in? And that's why whenever I've looked at personality t like t tests, I've always looked at, well, what's the more holistic one? And so that's essentially what you're talking about here, right? Because
Yes.
you can't separate
Yes.
you can't split yourself in half and go, oh, I'm work, or this today I'm this part of me is going to be work today and this part of me is going to be life. That's why I hate the work-life balance
Right.
analogy because it's just so
Right. Right.
it's so not right, right?
Yes.
In terms of
Right. I love the term harmony, trying to find work-life harmony as opposed to balance
yeah,
because they
yeah.
shift and they move.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
so when you work with individuals or when you work with teams, do you like, do you do an assessment, a like, how does it work? Do you do a pre-assessment to understand where they're at, or is it like you go,
Yeah.
because you're ultimately wanting to get them to thrive, right? So are you
Yep.
looking at where they're at and then you do getting them to do the personality test? It's not even, well, it's,
Yep.
and then it's like, and then you're putting together, is it then you put together a plan on, all right, we understand all of this. Now we need to put the
Yep.
plan together on how we're going to move them from, I like to say, survive to thrive. Is that like what you're,
Yes, I love that.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I love that you pointed that out because I often say, especially when I was working with female professionals, that we have become so used to wearing survival mode as almost a diluted badge of honor. You
Ugh.
know, oh, I'm in survival mode. Oh, me too. And we just kind of sit there and like commiserate about, how tough and hard our lives is, but we stop there and we don't think, well, surviving, we want to thrive, whether that's motherhood or our businesses, our careers, whatnot. Um, but yeah, so the first step that they do is they take the assessment and then we run the engine runs the meta analysis of how that all the influence how the domains interact, and then we create a report that shows and gives them detail of who they are, how they show up, the insights part of it. And then we provide, depending on what they are looking for, if they are somebody who is looking for a way to um, find more ways of stress reduction or relaxation, or if they're working with a life coach and they're trying to look for time management skills, whatever they're looking for specifically, we then run through and find the ideal strategies for them. And then from that, we create an action plan. And currently, we put in there 30 and 90-day action plans. Um, and then depending on how the coach wants to use it, they could then create their own coaching plan from the insights that they gain from the assessment about their client. But that hope our intention with the platform is that will all change, where it will be a living system that an individual, a coach, or a leader can use to understand where their team is at. They can interact with it and input updates about their
Yeah.
um, life experiences, and then from that it will evolve and change with them. And let's say having a child is an easy one to say because that's a significant life change, right? And let's say you didn't have children before and now you have children. Your values are likely going to change. Your motivations might shift a little bit. So then what strategies and techniques and action plans for your goals will change based on that life experience. And then connected to how you're wired. So our goal, and it's this is not developed yet. We are still in the fundraising stage, so we can create this platform. But essentially, it's all within this report currently, and that's what they receive at the time is a fully fledged report that includes insight, strategy, and an action plan.
Wow. It's so incredible, isn't it? Like to think because this also comes back to authenticity, right? There's aspects of you that just
Yes.
fundamentally do not change. But there's other parts of you like where life experiences or life things happen or that changes. So your goals and your action plans change. But then how do you
Yes.
ensure that also that then you keep them connected back to who they truly are? So like if you're like an ENJF or an ENFJ, for example, if you're an extra or an
Yeah.
intro, like I mean, I've got questions around
Yeah.
that even, but it's like for me, it sounds like an amazing tool in terms of that ability
Yeah.
to, this is who you are, this is your system, but
Yes.
we might pivot over here or we might pivot over here. And I do love a
Yeah.
30-day and a 90-day plan. I love the 30-day because I think
Yes.
you can, I actually believe you can make a difference. You know, what do they, it takes 21 days to change a
21
habit.
days for habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yep.
it's really interesting that you're playing with that. Well, you've got the 30 and 90 day as well. Do
Yep.
you see like can you pull out if they're introverted or extroverted or a bit of both? Like it's
Yes.
part of your
Yep.
and then how do
It
you
does. So we
yeah, sorry you go.
I was just gonna say that we use the Big Five model, which shows their level of extroversion, and where they are on a scale from introversion to extroversion.
Yeah, which is very, which I absolutely love. And do you, from a team's perspective, do you look at all of them individually and then almost like create the team plan?
Yes.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yes,
it.
exactly. So
So,
each individual employee gets their own report and how they're wired and then how they can thrive in the workplace. And then we do an almost secondary analysis on top of that of how the team is put together and how they um collaborate, communicate, where there might be some blind spots, how to navigate friction between different personalities. Um, but each individual employee, their report and the answers to their assessments are private, which is something that we pride ourselves on because a lot of assessments, and I think a lot of employees, when they're taking assessments, will answer the way that they think that their employer wants to hear.
yeah.
So it could skew the results, or it will be inauthentic, and it will not give them the things that they need to actually thrive. So our reports, what they get, are private, and then the leadership will receive a high level view of their team and what the team needs to thrive. And each individual employee, what they need to thrive and be supported, and how they like to be communicated and give feedback or receive feedback. What they're essentially given a roadmap of or a GPS. I like to say that we are a personality GPS for people in performance optimization. So they're given a GPS of how to get to where they want to be.
I love that. I love that. I had a question for you and it's just slipped my mind. It'll come back to
Sorry.
me. No, no, no. It was around. Oh, don't you hate that when you've got that? I can feel it sitting there.
Yes. I always say if it's important, it'll come back to me.
Yeah, no, totally. If absolutely, if it's important, it will come back to me. How long does it take to do this? How long does it take to do
It's
the actual?
it's about 20 to 30 minutes.
And is it
So it
is it
doesn't take very long.
actually having to like put like type things in, or is it like is it? Yeah,
It's a scale. So it's two, it's both. There are the scale, on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you answer this question? And then we have the open-ended questions, which is about your life experiences and, what are your stressors, what are your obstacles, what are your goals, your desires?
yeah, cool. And then are you seeing any real trends coming through? Like, are you seeing like what, like common frictions are with teams, or like from a leadership perspective, like when like coming back to this Thrive piece, right? We're in a world where it is so busy. Everyone is working around the clock. Like, you talked about the plates situation here going on.
Yeah,
Like, but we've got to resolve it. Like, there's got to be a different way to
yeah,
lead. There's got to be a different
yeah,
way to like move out of this survive mode. What are you seeing as some of the
yes.
big things coming out that like you go, oh, like it's just consistently coming up, which are preventing people from thriving, but also then what else are you seeing in terms of what people are looking for to be able to thrive?
I think the themes that I'm seeing a lot of are when teams are interested and come to work with me, they're either in two camps. They're either one, they're already experiencing like friction and miscommunication or turnover or burnout
Yeah.
because they're not understanding what their employees need, or their employees don't know what they need. They don't know, they might be doing tasks that just don't fit how they're wired, which may be better suited for somebody else, or shared responsibility or whatnot. So I think that's one theme that I'm seeing people come to me for. The other one I'm seeing are the really progressive or forward thinking organizations who say, we don't necessarily aren't experiencing anything terrible right now, but we really want to make sure that we're set up for success and we want to be ahead of the
Future
game.
proofing.
So,
I love that.
yes. And so, um, as far as when themes that are coming when people are taking it, I see um leadership leadership is there's a lot of consistency when it comes to like being direct and conscientious and very detail oriented. and excited to take the assessment, right? Because they're part of the reason that they want to bring it to their team.
Yeah.
But you do see those ones where, again, there's a stigma of, oh, my leadership wants me to take this assessment. They're going to analyze me. And so, what's funny is it's not funny, I suppose, but it's interesting to me because I find it fascinating is you get these answers, and especially the open-ended questions, you can tell when somebody who is kind of irritated and they're like, oh, um they make a sarcastic thing in there, what's the question you want to know, or what's your obstacle? Well, these personality assessments trying to analyze my personality is an obstacle. Like, okay, so I can see you're already coming at this, but I've created, because we use so many domains of personality, it almost has built-in safe checks that somebody can't necessarily go in and fake it and go through. It will catch it based on just because of the different domains. It's trained to look for patterns and contradictions.
Oh,
And
that's your
even by them
criminal. That's your
doing that,
criminology behavior. Like that's what
yes,
you're. Yeah,
sure,
so I was about to yeah,
yes,
I can see it. Like
yep,
it's just
yeah,
all like, yeah,
yeah.
you're like, you can't trick me. You
you
cannot
can't
trick
you
me.
can't trick me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's, and even if somebody were to do that, it's still telling about their personality, right? So
yeah,
you're still going to gain something from it even if you try to game it.
yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
When you booked in for the pod, I asked you what was one unique insight or experience when it comes to life, leadership, and business. And you said true success comes when leaders align with their innate personality blueprint. After nearly a decade working inside the criminal justice system and then working directly with female professionals, excuse me, I saw firsthand how misunderstood personality and behavior causes misalignment, burnout, and broken systems. That experience inspired me to pioneer applied personality intelligence to create the strategic personality blueprint to help leaders and organizations stop fighting against their unique wiring and instead building sustainable success and leading with clarity, energy, and impact. Two things I want to
Yes.
talk about in this because we've talked a lot about your answer already. Like I knew this would
Yeah.
happen. But one, I want to talk about broken systems, and the other
Mhm.
bit is around stop the fighting against their unique wiring. And
Yes.
where I want to go with that one is that so I do my personality test with you. Or do my yeah, I shouldn't just call it the personality test, but you know what I'm saying. I do
That's fine.
I
Yep. Yep.
complete it, and then I'm
Yep.
like, oh, and you show me all the responses and answers, which I innately know,
Yes. Yes.
but then you're almost
You
giving me
do.
the ability to be able to be my authentic self, and this is what I can do.
Yes.
Tell us about
Yes. To
those two
leverage it.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the first one, when I say stop fighting against your wiring, first of all, yes, when you say that you innately know it, a lot of times I do get the response, from individuals that say, I didn't necessarily learn any big giant ahas. I felt like I already knew a lot of what you were telling me. It's just nice to see it on paper or talked about and then see where it shows up. But when I talk about fighting the wiring, and try not to go against the wiring, is um, a lot of times when we feel stuck or overwhelmed or frustrated or something, it's due to some sort of internal push pull from the different parts of our personality. And I have an example with a client where she would constantly say, I feel stuck. I can't move forward and make a decision. And for her, she had one part of her personality. She's very, um, direct, analytical, processes and structure and making plans, and then she has another part of her personality, her motivational part of her personality is very emotionally driven. So what we concluded doing this is something you would only find in this type of view on their personality, is that when she feels stuck it and can't make a decision, it's likely due to the fact that she has this push between a part of her that wants it to be analytical and really pieced apart and have a plan. But then if there's not enough fulfillment or meaning
Shit.
to what she's trying to set, then it will there's some breakdown. Or on the other side, maybe it's too not meaningful, too emotionally driven,
Yeah.
and she's stuck because she needs to bring some more structure into it. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I totally get that now." So now it gives her a moment when she's feeling that she could think, "Okay, pause. Where is this going for me?" And it allows her to pivot to be able to then work with her wiring as opposed to
That's so
constantly
cool
fighting
because
it.
that's that male energy, female, like female male energy thing you're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about here as well.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yep.
then the broken systems piece, like you talk a little bit
Yep.
about that because you did mention that in your response.
Yes. Yes. So I can go all the way back to working in the criminal justice system. And when we worked with, a lot of times when we're working with inmates and we're trying to create intervention plans, and this can be the same for organizations too, but for my direct, like, I've seen firsthand the broken part of it, and this is where my why lies, um, is so often we use blanket policies and blanket rehabilitation efforts. For instance, if somebody has a substance use disorder, a lot of times it's like, okay, here's the policy of what we do for anybody that falls into that category, simply
Yeah.
because you have that label. Um, but that doesn't work for everybody because we are so different. And for instance, if one of the things to do is to send them to recovery meetings and to go to a meeting every single night, and you're in there with a group of people, but maybe they get overwhelmed by groups of people, or they're very shy, very quiet, they have social anxiety, something like that. So then when they go home, they may relapse. And then let's say they're called in by probation the next day and they have a drug screen and it's dirty. So
Yeah.
then they get in trouble and they have to end up being reprimanded, whether that could be even going to jail or having their freedom revoked. But if we knew that maybe that person would thrive having a one-to-one mentorship, then we would be able to tailor their exact intervention strategies for how they're wired. And the same thing goes for like organizations. If you have somebody that's coming on, and oftentimes onboarding is the same, we do the same onboarding, ABC, ABC, but somebody might do better and understand the processes
Yeah.
better and be able to connect if it's BAC. It just depends
On the
on
person.
yes,
I love it.
exactly.
I love it. I've got a couple more questions for you.
Yep,
Excuse me, I keep getting this frog in my throat.
that's okay. I get those too.
You're a founder. You've
Hmm.
you pivoted in your business. You've now
Yes.
got this amazing business going. Your own personality. How do you check your
Yes.
own personality? Like, do you apply this to yourself as well? Like, do you have a team that you
All
have
the
in the
time.
business? Like, how does it work with you and your team just to check
Yeah.
yourselves when because as a founder and you're raising
Yes.
you're raising, raising capital, raising funds, etc. Like
Yeah.
you're probably a lot of the time in survival mode yourself. So how do you, and you're a
True.
mom and juggling and all. So how do you use this
True.
to better yourself, to
Absolutely.
get back to rewiring yourselves? Like, yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I would say I'm probably I probably know more about my own personality and wiring than most people on this planet, but maybe not. But I have dug into it, and that might be part obviously because I created this, and it is such a passion of mine. Um, but I constantly do go back and dig in and say, okay, I am dealing with this friction of some sort. And how can I navigate, even if it's like a conflict with somebody or disagreement, I'll go back and say, okay, so these are the types of tools that work for me. Or if I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I learned that different type of breath work techniques work for
yeah,
me, and different types of time management techniques work for me, and how to structure my day. And then when it comes to the team, absolutely, we have put in place the different team members have taken it, and we can really helps us navigate when we're building or on a project or creating something, who is ideal based on their strengths to be able to take on these different parts. So instead of like trial and error
I
or just throwing
love
spaghetti
that.
at the wall and seeing it,
Yeah.
it cuts through a lot of noise and
Yeah.
makes it more efficient. And yeah,
Yeah, because I've always played with personalities, just my own intuitive self going, that
yeah,
client, my staff will work better with that client, or this particular person will work better
yes,
with that person. But you've actually got the
yes,
robust data, if
yeah,
you like to go, no, those two would match. It's like speed. That's a little bit like
yes.
matchmaking, isn't it? In terms of how you,
Exactly like matchmaking.
yeah, like
Yes.
I call it
Yes.
speed
I actually
dating.
just used that earlier today. Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah. I said I just used that term earlier today when I was talking
It's
about founders. I
100%.
said it's like founder matchmaking.
It is
Yeah.
100
Yep.
percent founder matchmaking,
Mhm.
founder speed dating. And then tell me,
Yes.
what
Yep.
do you, as a founder, what do you see as, what do you find is the biggest challenge for you as a founder?
Oh man. Um, and this actually relates directly to my personality. But I can veer very perfectionistic and I can veer towards overworking. And if I get on something, I want to keep going until
I
I've
can see that. I'm
finished
the
it.
same.
So
Yeah.
for me, I would say it's probably finding time to take a break and delegating tasks and saying it's okay. Just because I'm the founder and I created this, other people are absolutely capable of taking something on. So it's our baby and we love it so much and it's hard because it is our
Okay.
baby and we believe there might not be somebody else who has as much passion for my baby as me. So that's probably the hardest thing is letting go some of that um of my baby to go
Yeah. You can
to
only,
others to
it's the
handle.
hardest part, right? It is the hardest part, especially when
Mhm.
you've birthed this thing.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yes.
it's like a baby. It's still growing. And
Yep.
then at some point it's going to
Yep.
become a teenager. And then the only
Yep.
way that you can grow personally and the only way the business can
Yep.
grow is the ability just to trust and to let
Yep.
others be involved. And yeah, and I think the other part of this is that
Yes.
it'll never be their baby, but as long as they nurture and
Yep.
care for it, like for example, babysitting and ensuring they're doing the
Yes.
best job. I think that
Yep.
that's yeah, but it's a
Yes.
hard part.
Yep. Yep.
Final
Yep.
question for you, Rachel, so I can let you
Yeah.
get to your evening and to your family, no doubt. It's what would you what would be one piece of advice you would give a leader, a leader or a team that was operating from this survival mode and they tried every trick, every kind of transactional trick, let's call
Yep.
it that, and yet they still weren't shifting the dial.
Yeah.
What would be the piece of advice you'd give them? It's pretty broad. Yeah.
Yeah, but the first one that comes to mind is and it's so simple, but it could be difficult depending on hearing it if they think, no, I really want a concrete tool. But I would say to pause and choose curiosity. Because when you choose curiosity and put aside assumptions, either about yourself or about your team or about your customers, if you pause and instead of telling, you start asking questions, you will start to uncover answers simply by being curious.
I love that. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
How do we find out more about Insperai, I should say. I was about to say Inspire because I feel like it's been an inspiring
Well,
conversation.
it is, and that's part of the inspiration for the word was inspire. So, yep.
Oh, cool. Okay, well there you go. Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the face and just yeah, it's very cool.
Thank you.
The designer, the logo, I should say. How do we find out more about you? How
Thank
do we
you.
find out more about your company and
Yep.
anyone who wants
You
to give it a go?
Yeah, they can visit inspirai.com, www.insperai.com. Or we can connect on LinkedIn, Rachel J. Edwards. But those are the two best places to be able to connect and share more and continue the conversation.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. It's been I've
Thank
loved
you,
this whole
Bee.
conversation. I feel like I could keep talking to you about personality. I want to do it. I want to see what comes up for me.
Oh,
I think I know myself pretty well, but
absolutely.
like that I'm always
Yeah,
intrigued to find these things out, and I love this, like I
yeah,
said, the 30,
absolutely.
30 and 90 day because everyone wants things fast. So Rachel, thank you so
Yep.
much. It's been a real, yeah, I've loved
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Bee.
No, well, you're welcome.